Welcome to my cake kitchen. In this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process for fixing American buttercream and getting it smooth and stable for filling into cakes, especially in this heat wave in the UK. When dealing with buttercream in a heat wave, it can quickly become soft, can split and become unstable. So this is the method I personally use to bring back perfect consistency. The buttercream I have here is American buttercream, but it's not the traditional kind that you may be aware of. This is a variation of American buttercream where the icing sugar is dissolved with water first and added into whipped butter. This method gives your buttercream a smoother texture and rids of the gritty feel of American buttercream, but it's still a sweet and smooth. I have already covered a full tutorial of this buttercream that I tested out, which was a viral recipe, and I've also covered this particular batch of buttercream that I am using here in a live tutorial that is fully raw and unedited, so you can watch the entire process from start to finish on how I make and derive this buttercream for great results. The flavor and texture of this buttercream is absolutely beautiful. It's smooth, creamy and delicious, but because of the added moisture and the addition of cream into the buttercream, it is very unstable in warm weather temperatures. That's why after making the buttercream, I transferred it straight into the fridge to firm out overnight. And now this video begins when the buttercream comes straight out of the fridge, left at room temperature for an hour, and I am about to reconstitute it, making it smooth and spreadable again, ready for filling into a cake that has to go out sometime later in the morning. To begin bringing the buttercream together, I have to mix the buttercream on low speed using a paddle attachment for a few minutes, and as you can see, the buttercream has split. Since buttercream is an emulsion, which is a mixture of fats and liquids, changes in temperature can cause the emulsion to break, which also happens in your favorite buttercreams such as Swiss, Italian and French meringue buttercream. So if this happens, don't worry, there's a simple way to bring it all back together. I dish out a small portion of the buttercream, roughly about 70 to 90 grams, in a microwave safe bowl. The exact amount here doesn't have to be precise, it just has to be enough that it can melt into a warm, pourable liquid consistency, and the consistency will look a little bit milky once it's melted down, and that's because of the addition of cream in the buttercream recipe. Next, whilst the mixer is still running, I slowly pour the warm buttercream back in the main batch. As the paddle attachment continues with the mixing, the warmth of the small batch helps to re-emulsify the buttercream, bringing it back together into a smooth and cohesive texture. At this stage, the buttercream will look like it's going through different phases before it fully comes together, but stay with it slowly, don't panic, it will all come back together. However, as we've introduced warmth into the mixture, the buttercream will now become rather soft. The texture at this point is similar to very thick custard, which is smooth and creamy, but is too soft for filling into a cake, especially in this heat wave. So to firm it back up, I transfer the entire buttercream into a bowl, which is headed straight for the fridge, and I'm not looking to fully leave it cold or hard again from the fridge. I just want it to slightly firm up and become more stable for filling into a cake. I checked it at about 15 minutes intervals to make sure I stir it together so that I don't have cold patches where some part is firmer than the other. And after about 40 minutes altogether, it's come together, which I will be using to fill into a cake. So if you'd like to see the entire detailed process of this tutorial where I fix the buttercream from start to finish, it is covered in a live tutorial which I will be linking in the description box. You can check it out without missing any of the steps I have showed here, which is rather condensed. But if you stay tuned by subscribing and sticking with the channel, I will bring you back in future episodes where I show you how I use this buttercream to fill into a cake and the processes and techniques I employ during this heat wave to get better results for my cake decorating process. I'll see you on the next episode.